Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin. It is Wealth Wednesday. I'm excited to be here. As of right now, we have 73 participants on the line. Make sure that you reach out to your team. We don't want any ICMs missing out on these amazing trainings in the morning, so make sure that you're reaching out to your team and setting them up with this information. Our trainer today is Daine Clark. Daine Clark is killing it in this business, and just a little bit of his background. Before Renatus, Daine was working two jobs. He was working at Apple, but he was in the back and kind of shy. He wasn't the guy that came out and greeted you, so he wasn't much of a people person. And he was also a roofer with fair skin and red hair. Being in the sun all day was not his cup of tea, and he kind of landed that job because his dad was a roofer. At the time, he was barely making ends meet, and he started looking for other income opportunities and ended up finding Renatus. After he plugged into the Renatus system, he listened to his mentor and started to apply what he was learning. He applied velocity banking to pay down debt and then used that position as leverage as a down payment for a duplex and lived in one side and rented out the other. That's such an awesome strategy. Fast forward to today, Daine has raised over $6 million from investors to lend on various real estate transactions, and his secret to that is consistency and frequency. He's grown his team. He is now a PIT team member, meaning he's a President's Advisory Council member in training. He's recognized by our CEO, Bob Snyder, as a key leader, and we are fortunate to have him as our trainer today. Good morning, Daine.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing awesome. Thank you. How are you?
So good. So good. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that intro. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? And for those of you who know what I like to do in the beginning, be accountable to yourself, your business, what you want in life. So let's go ahead and kick it off and start with that first. And I've got some awesome stuff today that I've been thinking about like all week. And so anyway, go ahead and chat in the chat box. I'm going to do this myself. Chat into the chat box how many people you had in a meeting, a one-on-one, any kind of exposure to our real estate investing educational system and services in the last 7 days. So I personally had 5. Good morning, Matt and Merrill, to you too. Amy had 2 down to meetings. Great job, Amy. Keely had 4. Awesome. Good job. Great job. Oh, man, tons of them all at the same time. Ruthie had 2. Great job. Esther had 3. Congratulations. Tamira had 2. Jerry had 3. Awesome. Matt had 2. Rick Steiner, 12 people at the regionals in Sacramento. Good job. Yes. Jonathan had 3. Staff dash Scott. Maybe this is Scott. Scott had 27. Holy smokes, that's amazing. Make sure you follow up with all of those people. Jeremy had 5. John and Ty had 3. Congratulations, everybody. And just like you've always heard me say, if you are new to this and you're just getting started, still report a goose egg. Still report a goose egg, because believe me, the success gods will see that you are in, and some of the things I'm going to talk about today actually are really going to help with this, but the success gods are going to see you that you desire what you want in life more than it is hard to get. I'm going to say that again. The success gods are going to see that you desire what you want more than it is hard to get. And so you are willing to post whatever actionable items that you did during the week, people, meeting with people, because believe me, all business is a connection game. It's just how you connect to these people. So let me back up here and make sure I got everybody. Thank you, Mary. I like it. Goose egg. Let's see. Jenna, 1 guest attending multiple events. Good job. And another essentials closed and funded. Good job, Jenna. Sean, watch what happens this next week, brother. It's coming your way. Michael had 7. Congratulations. Allison, same to you. Watch what happens in this next week, especially as I go over what we're talking about today. Sherry had 2. Noreen had 1. Kevin had 6. Great job. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump over here, and I'm going to share my screen, and let's talk about some stuff today. And I want to give you guys one little quick tip, because one thing I've noticed is that a lot of the success of a meeting is actually going to it's going to come from the tone that you set in that meeting. Whether you're speaking or somebody else, doesn't matter. So one little tip that I do, and you'll laugh at this. I should have turned my screen on, what I was doing while I was about to come on and share. But one thing that I do to really boost my energy, and I do this before I do a phone call. I do this before I jump on, a training. I do this before I go do a presentation, like all the time. I will just like smile so big. I will smile so big and just like, and huge smile. So that way when I come on, I try to maintain that smile as long as I can. And it's weird. When you smile and talk, try this one day in the mirror. When you talk into the mirror and you sit there and smile and talk versus just like relaxing your face, you just sound different. There's just more energy behind what you say. So give that a try. The next time you are going to meet with anybody, right before you see them, just like smile real big, and who cares if you're like sitting in the car and people are walking by and you're just like sit there, smile, whatever. But yeah, that's one of the things that I do. So even before, when Keely was introducing me and I'm about to come on, I'm just like pacing back and forth. I'm just like smiling real big, and then boost of energy. And I'm still smiling because I think this is kind of funny that I'm sharing this with you guys, behind the scenes. But anyway, so, okay, today, and it sounds like I have somebody off of mute, so I'm going to jump in here real fast and mute all. Bam. Okay. So today, I've been thinking quite a bit, just because a lot of my week consists of me rubbing shoulders with students and either answering questions or figuring out different things that we can do to help. And so this has been really weighing on my mind, just because of a lot of the questions that I've been answering this week in how do you do it? How do you have that first success? And how do you maintain that success? And I feel like that was one of the hardest things to overcome as you're growing. How do you have that first one? But how do you maintain it and continue to have success over and over and over and over again? Okay. And and this is just my personal belief that I'll be sharing with you guys, but I think I may be onto something here. But I believe that there are 2 ways to find success faster than just trying to motivate yourself, go to maybe a big personal development seminar and just get pumped and then like, yeah, let's go back and do this, because in what I find and in motivation, motivation is that motivation is just like, and it comes and goes like emotions, right? Because emotions always go up and they go down. Like I've never, and maybe somebody else will figure this out, but I've never had like the same emotion for a 24-hour period even, right? Because emotions come and go and they flow and up and down and ebb and flow and all kinds of stuff, yeah? So here's the thing that I feel really is going to draw success out of you. Because believe me, every single person has it. If you can even see success in other people, that means it's within you, because you cannot see that which you do not have. Okay? So here's my idea. And I've got stories to back this up. Obligation.
Hey, Dane, I don't mean to interrupt you, but are you supposed to have something that we're supposed to see?
Uh-oh, did I forget to push the button to share my screen?
Yes.
Oh man, I got too excited. Okay, bam, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you so much. How funny of me. Okay, so here we are. Motivation. So motivation ebbs and flows, up and down, right? It comes and goes. But obligation is a little bit different, okay? And there's two ways that I was when I was first getting started, I would obligate myself two different ways. And I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that this was happening in the background. But as I look back, boy, did this work for me. Okay? And I noticed that I have these two different types of obligation motivate me, or I shouldn't say motivate me, but these two different types of obligation get me off my butt and working in different ways. Okay, so maybe you will be made a little bit different, and different things will obligate you. But anyway, so let's talk about this. So obligation number one, both of them are going to be people. Believe me, okay, both of them are going to be people. But if you start telling people what you are going to do or what you plan to do, you begin to obligate yourself to do those things, right? If you look at any success story, where did it really come from? And, I mean, you look at Apple, and the little that I know about Mr. Steve Jobs, when he started Apple, he obligated himself to some guy in a technology store back in the day, and he basically said, you know, the guy was talking about this or that, whatever, and Steve goes, "Hey, I'll do that. I will make that happen," and you know, from what I remember of the story, build all these computers essentially. And so, but then he walks out of the store. He just obligated himself to this man and said, "I will do it. I will get that done in the time frame that you need it." And Steve walked out of that store and was like, "Oh crap. How am I going to do this?" Right? He didn't know. Right? And if I look at myself back when I was getting started and I'm going through my classes in phase 1 and phase 2, and I just started talking to people saying, "Hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get into real estate. I'm going to do this." Okay? So the two different types of people. Or sorry, I shouldn't say two different types of people, but two different types of obligations. Both of them are people, but one of them is time sensitive. When you obligate yourself, I'm going to do something by this date. And the other is not time sensitive. I'm just going to do this eventually, not time sensitive. Okay? So a couple of little stories here. Sensitive. Funny, my brain works faster than my fingers do. Okay. So obligating yourself. Quick little story. And you guys have heard some of my, I like to use my first success stories because I, you know, feel like back then I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I'm just learning things and watching other people and thinking, okay, if this is how I feel like I understand that person is having success, so I'm going to go do what I understand. And so the first time I ever obligated myself to another human by telling them what I was going to do, I sit down and I tell somebody, like, "Hey, I'm getting into real estate investing." Right? And you guys have all heard me say, like, dude, you want to have an interesting conversation with somebody that might lead to money? Just say the words investing in real estate. Literally, just fathom some way to be in the middle of a conversation, just randomly be like, investing in real estate. and then just see what happens, right? Like, obviously don't go like, don't be weird about it, but literally it's almost that simple. You just bring up the words real estate investing and see what happens. So that's what happened on the very first one for me, where I remember reaching out, talking to somebody that I knew and was like, hey, I'm getting into real estate investing. And he goes, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I've been thinking about real estate investing myself. I'm like, holy cow, that's what the heck? Let's talk. This guy's name is Glenn. And so I say, Glenn, how about I just come to your house and let's talk about real estate investing? So I'm talking to him and his wife, and at the end of our conversation, because I did not have anything on the table at the time, and the more I learned about him, he's a successful dude, and runs a very successful company, very busy, but makes a lot of money. And so at the end, I'm just feeling inside, and you'll notice that you get really good at this over time, that this intuition from inside of you, as you feel what is best for the person that you are talking to, I mean, you'll know what to say. You'll be given what to say in the moment that you need to say it. Yeah, and so here I am, and I just feel like saying, you know what, Glenn? How about I go and find a deal like what I'm talking about, right? Learning how to find discounted real estate, deeply discounted real estate. And if I go find a deal that works, or that, that looks good, how about we look at it together? And so if I brought a deal to the table, would you look at it with me, and let's see if we can't team up, and let's do this together? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. Like, why not? Why wouldn't I look at a deal like, if you brought something to the table like this? And he goes, and so I go, great, I'll get to work. And so I walk out of his house, and I'm like, what in the world did I just do? I just told this person, and this person, I didn't know this person super well, but he knows my family. He knows people that I know. And so here I am, like, telling this man that knows people that I know that I'm going to do something. And I will tell you, I felt this obligation to go and do exactly what I said I was going to do. And you know what? I didn't give him any time frame. I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden, I find myself almost, I hate to say the word motivated because I'm trying to get away from that word, but I find myself getting off my desk, picking up the phone, calling people, because I just obligated myself to another human and said, this is what I'm going to do. And if I don't, that's going to make me look bad, right? And most people, they want to look good in front of other people, okay? And so one of the biggest fears that people will have is they won't tell anybody that they're going to do it. They just want everybody to see them have success after, like that. And I've never heard any stories like that that actually, that worked, where people were like, oh yeah, I just came out of the woodwork and all of a sudden was a massive success. No, people like have their rags to riches story because they have, like, everybody knows what they were doing in the rags portion of their story, right? Anyway, so I obligate myself to him, I obligate myself to others, and I'm just talking about real estate investing, and it's crazy. I start closing combos because of this. And people are getting excited about me just telling them I'm going to get into this. And people are like, holy crap, me too. Let's do this. Okay? Just start talking about real estate investing. And if it strikes a chord in them, we are in rapport essentially, because we both have passion about real estate investing or getting into it and learning it. And so here I am, I'm starting to obligate myself. And then I start achieving certain amounts of success. And it was crazy because I'm talking and talking and talking, and one of the so here's one of the people that I just talked about, Glenn. And then I start talking to another person. Okay, so I gotta make room. Actually, let's just change color so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, and then I talk to another person, and in my conversation, you know, same thing. I just say the words, investing in real estate, and we start talking about it. But it was interesting because it was different. Like with this person, he had this different relationship to real estate, and it was that of pain. He owned this piece of real estate, and he needed to get rid of this property because of what it was doing to his life, basically. What, you know, the stress that it was causing him in his life. And so, you know, in the moment, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to see if I can offer some kind of solution. So I obligated myself to this person, but now it was time sensitive. I told him I was going to do something by a certain date. And believe me, that one was like, oh my gosh. You know, I hang up the phone. This guy's name was Daine. I hang up the phone. I basically tell Daine that I would put together enough money to purchase his property by what was it, like 14 days? And that I told him that I was coming up with cash in 14 days. And I hang up the phone. You know, this was all just verbal at the time. And then, you know, we did paperwork later. But at that moment, I was like, holy smokes, I have to do this now. And you know what happened? I actually procrastinated because it scared me so much for a couple of days. I didn't do anything because I had fear. It scared me because now I'm telling this guy I'm going to do something that I've never done before and come up with cash in less than 2 weeks, essentially, to satisfy what, you know, the solution that I had come up with based on what I had been watching in my classes in Renatus. Okay. So anyway, I obligated myself to Daine, and then I was like, okay, now I have to, I got to do this. So I actually start calling some of these people back that I had a similar conversation with Glenn, and I say, Glenn, guess what, man? I got one. Like, let's look at this deal together. And because, and still, I didn't know what I was doing. I call my title agent. I'm calling, you know, my Renatus friends and peeps. I'm calling, you know, and so I pulled this deal off early on using Glenn's money even, and move forward, right? And I do the same thing in my Renatus business. I start obligating myself to people and telling them what I'm going to do and how I'm going to help and all these different types of things, right? So some people, you know, like like, you know, some people say, oh my gosh, I need this. And I say, cool, let's find the money. Let's find the 20,000 so you can get started too. You know, I'll help you find it. Here's a bunch of ideas. You know, which one works for you? Yeah. And so anyway, I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down, but I want to talk a little bit about what starts happening when you obligate yourself to people. Okay. I got somebody off mute. Do you have a question? All right. I'll go ahead and mute everybody. Mute. Okay. So here's what starts happening. So when you're new, just start obligating yourself. Just start telling people what your plan. If you don't know what your plan is, then sit down and set some goals. You know, watch your Tax and Legal Day 1 class. And Mark Kohler has a very good section on figuring out, setting out what your goals are. Okay, but sit down. And believe me, if you guys have heard me if you've ever heard me talk about the 4 boxes, where some people's relationship to real estate is going to be that of passive. Some people's relationship to real estate is going to be that of very active. Some people's relationship to real estate is that they have a property, and that property is causing problems in their life. And some people's relationship to real estate is that of not interested. And I should say real estate investing. Okay? So you obligate yourself to each of these people every single time you tell them that you're getting into it and what your plan is and what you're going to do. Okay? And believe me, the more people that you tell what your plan is or what your goal is or what you're going to do, some people are going to jump on board because you now look like and feel like a real estate entrepreneur. Because you know what you're doing, and you've put yourself above like 97% of United States citizens that would not consider themselves a real estate investor. Okay? So you just start telling people what you're doing, what your goals are. You just bring up the words real estate investing. You start obligating yourself to success, right? Now, here's what happens when you obligate yourself to people who join Renatus. One of my biggest fears was that if I brought in people and they became students, that I would obligate myself to be somebody that they could follow. So here I was, I found myself, and this new guy had not had any success, and I started bringing people into Renatus and closing combos, and I had not even closed the deal yet. Had not made any money in real estate, and I became a 5-star, and I started working, and now I found myself obligated to be somebody that my students could follow. And I was like, okay, I have to figure this out now. And it was crazy because I'm not going to use the word motivation. This obligation drove me to say, I am doing this. I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing this for them out of obligation, right? And, believe me, this is going to be the scariest thing that you do, this transition, if you will. It's going to be the scariest thing that you do when you start telling yourself, but you know what? I am going to be this. I'm going to be a leader. It was so scary. And I even like started, it was funny, for a moment, for a little while there, I actually stopped. I said, you know what, that's too scary. I don't want to have people looking to me, because what if I fail? I mean, if you ask any person out there that ever had success, and I bet you if you would ask them if they were scared of what they would look like if they failed, they would have said, heck yeah, of course I was. But you know what? I did it anyway. and their drive to bring success and to the world for themselves and the people around them overpowered that fear by just telling people what they were doing, getting people involved, and making those commitments. And the more people, it's crazy. I feel like the more students that I would bring into Renatus, the more that success, the more desire I had for that success. It was weird. And so here I am, bringing all these students and haven't made any money in real estate yet, but it gets me off my butt, out of my bed, on the phone, making calls, and basically taking the steps necessary to have that success. And it was crazy. I had my first little success story and my second little success story, and I'm like, I'm telling all the people, like, hey guys, I did it. It worked. Check this out. And believe me, like now, even on these calls on Wednesdays, I obligate because I know that every Wednesday I have to come up with something that is going to be valuable for everybody to take home and say, cool, you know what? I think I could use this little idea to improve myself by 1%. I obligate myself to everybody on this call to be out and doing things that are bringing success. Because everybody would see right through me if I just jumped on these calls and didn't do anything for the week, and didn't take action, and didn't actually create the rubber meets the road effect in my business, right? So I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down here. The more people that you tell, the more success you will obligate yourself to have. And it will just, it will start working for you, right? And the most important time to be telling more and more people is when you don't feel like, when you don't feel successful, because that's what's going to bring you out. And believe me, it will be hard, yes, but my personal belief is that nobody bought Renatus because they didn't think it was going to be hard. They bought Renatus because they wanted success more than it was hard to get. And they wanted to go far with people instead of fast alone. And people bought Renatus because they wanted to have people that they can bounce ideas off of and share challenges with when they get stuck. All right, my personal belief is that every single person on this call wants success more than it is hard to get. And so we are willing to do the things that it takes, even when it's hard. So my challenge for everybody is keep doing that. Keep on doing what you're doing well, and do just a little bit more by telling more people that you're getting into real estate investing, and see what happens. Because again, when you tell somebody that, they're going to fall into one of these boxes. And you will make money here, you will make money here, you'll make money here, and you will defer interest and dividends here. Because sometimes these people or this mindset are going to be the ones who buy your property from you, who use your services, rent from you, who borrow, maybe money from you, whatever it is. These are the ones that are consumers of real estate investors, because they're not investing in real estate, they are consuming it. Okay. So they're the ones that pay the checks to real estate investors. But anyway, so we've got a couple extra minutes here. My hope today is that the only thing you take out of this is what you are about to do in the next 7 days to obligate yourself to a little bit more success. It did not happen overnight for myself. I joined Renatus 4 years ago. What's the date today? In 2 days, it will be 4 years that I slapped my 4 different credit cards on the table and entered $20,000 into the system and said, all right, let's do this. So questions, go ahead. Lita and Sol, I've got you guys off of mute. Let's see. Are we supposed to see some? Oh. Cecilia asked, Cecilia, you had a question last week, and I totally forgot to screenshot it. But was this the question that you asked me last week? How do you handle people ghosting you? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have everybody off of mute here. And mute. Or you're on mute. Okay, so how do I have people not ghost me? So whenever I schedule an appointment, one thing that I'll do, and if I'm in person or not, either way, but I'll whip out my calendar and I'll be like, all right, you want to meet? You want to come on Thursday night? So like notice here, I've got 3 people coming tomorrow night to the Thursday meeting, and I whip out my calendar. And I say, all right, when are you available? Or I if they're coming Thursday, I say, cool, I'm going to shoot you a calendar invite. In fact, pull out your calendar, make sure that you can make this, okay? And so I literally like make sure that they check, like, can you make it to this, right? And I get them to say, oh yeah, I can make that. Okay, so usually commitment number 1, can you make that work, that time work? Thursday night at 7, can you make it for sure? Is there anything you need to check? Okay, so in other words, commitment number 1. Commitment number 2, I say, cool, I'm about to shoot you a calendar invite. If you guys don't know how to send a calendar invite, you just do it like this. You make a new calendar event, and you go to the button invitees, and you type in somebody's email, okay? And automatically, your calendar will send them an invite. Doesn't matter if this is an iCloud calendar, doesn't matter if this is Gmail, you will send them a calendar invite, and you say, cool, when you get that, will you go ahead and accept it? And I don't do this for everybody, because I know some people are not very technologically, anything, and so it's totally fine. But for some people, I say, cool, you're going to get a calendar invite. Go ahead and accept that. So you'll notice, like, I'm meeting with somebody later today, and she has accepted this invite. I met with somebody yesterday. They accepted that invite. Let's see. Jordan accepted that invite because I tell them that. Okay, so there's commitment number 2. So if you remember, commitment number 1 is, can you make that time work? Yes, great, cool. I'm going to shoot you a calendar invite. When that comes through, will you go ahead and accept that so I know that you got it for sure? And then they say, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so then I find that they accept the invite. So there's commitment number 2. And then commitment number 3, the morning of. So for example, like Cody, for example, I actually just do like text message schedulers and things like that, where you can either schedule, or I just jump on the phone and text them that morning, right? I try to do it in the morning though, because I find if you text somebody in the evening, most people forgot that you scheduled a meeting, for them to come on Thursday night at 7 p.m. or Wednesday night at 7 p.m. or whatever meeting time you schedule with them. And so the third thing I do is I send them a text message. Now I never ask them if it still works for them. I just assume that they told me it was going to work 2 times. And so I just assume it's going to work, right? I go off of the last thing that they told me, which was it's going to work. Because a lot of times, if I hadn't heard from anybody or whatever, like I would be like, hey, does that time still work for you? You basically give them an out to not come, okay? And so the third thing I do is I text them that morning, and I basically just say, hey, looking forward to connecting today, whatever. If I'm meeting them over at a deal, I'll say something like, hey, let's see. Actually, here, I'll give you the exact text message that I give people. Let's see. Here, let me just punch it in here. Okay, so let's say I'm going to meet somebody at a deal. Confirm. I basically say this, hey, looking forward to meeting up the deal today. I have an appointment across town right before hours, so I will be there just in time. Here's the address. See you there, and then I just type in, whatever time I'm going to meet there. See you there, 7 p.m. Okay? Now, I word this way on purpose. Oh, here, let me make this bigger. I word this way on purpose. Okay? So I say, hey, looking forward to meeting up today. And let's say I'm meeting them at the Sandy Salt Lake Community College, because I'm having them come down to, at 7 p.m. to come to the group event. Then, I'll do the same thing. But hey, looking forward to meeting up today. And then I'll basically say that I am going out of my way to make sure that I meet with them. Okay? Even if I don't have an appointment across town and I'm just coming from my house, I still consider that, I had an appointment with my house right before ours. I obviously don't tell them that, but I basically say I'm going out of my way to make sure that I keep my end of the bargain and I meet with you so they don't ghost me, okay? So I send them that. I send them this, hey, looking forward to meeting. I have an appointment across town right before ours, so I'll be there just in time. Here's the address. I'll see you there 7 p.m. Okay? And so I send that because it gives them that sense that if they ghost me, dude, that they are low blowing me, right? And most people don't want to be that kind of person to your face when they know that, you know, I mean, obviously they committed, you know, weeks or days ago, but you remind them the day of, and you say exactly that. And when I do this, oh man, I am trying to think of the last time I got ghosted. I can't even remember. Now, I mean, it does happen now and again, but I can't even remember the last time that I did it just like this, where I gave them those 3 touches. 1, hey, can you make this time work? Yes, cool. I'm going to send you a calendar invite. Will you accept that when you get that? Yes. Okay, great. And then the morning of, hey, I'm looking forward to meeting up today. I've got an appointment across town. I'll be driving across town, you know, whatever that means. But, you know, it might make them feel like I'm driving for a long ways to meet with them and going out of my way. So I'm driving, I'll be driving across town to meet you there. And I'll see you there at this time. Here's the address. And I mean, believe me, this works. people show up to their meetings. And let's say I'm doing a Zoom call because they're not local. I do it like this. So let's see, I think it's confirm Zoom. Yep. Okay. Confirm Zoom. Hey, looking forward to meet today on our Zoom call. Okay. Same thing. At our meeting time, go ahead and click this link, and it should take you right to my meeting, and I could share my screen as needed. Right. Oh, you know what? I added one thing to this. Basically saying that I will not be at a computer, so I'm going to have to drive to a computer by basically saying, you know, something like this. Hey, looking forward to meeting us today on our Zoom call. I will be driving across town to make sure I can get in front of a computer at our meeting time. But at our meeting time, go ahead and click this link, and it should take you to my meeting room, and can share my screen as needed. See you there, 7 p.m. You know, whatever, 8, you know, 3 p.m. whatever time. Okay. So by basically just letting them know that you're going out of your way to make sure that you hold up your end of the bargain, and send it in the morning, because I feel like I remember doing this and sending it like a few hours before, and they were like, oh man, something came up, you know, they just forgot and made plans in their mind to do something else that evening. And when I sent that, they were like, oh shoot, I did do that, you know what, and it's really easy. It's really easy to just be like, you know what, I'm going to do the thing that I thought I was going to do, you know, whatever it was, watch an episode of Netflix or hang out with somebody, it doesn't matter. Okay. So I hope that helps. But that's how I do it, and get people to actually show up. And same thing. Let's see, I might have one for like a Thursday night, but I do the same thing. Hey, looking forward to meeting you up at the event tonight, at the real estate event tonight. You know, I'll be driving across town. I want to make sure I meet you there. Here's the address. See you there, 7 p.m. Okay. Great question. Great question. All right. Do I have any other questions? Great call. How can I obligate myself to enroll a student by Christmas? Well, you just did, brother. You, in fact, actually, instead of how can I, start telling everybody. We got like 110 people on this call right now. So you tell everybody, hey guys, I am going to enroll one student before Christmas. And it's going to make Christmas a great day, because I want that. I'm going to get that commission before Christmas too. So essentially, I'm going to enter the order. I'm going to enter the order by December. Let's see, it's roughly 14 days before, and I'm going to get paid. Okay. So just start telling people what you're going to do. Now that one's not going to be as time. Actually, yeah, it'll be time sensitive, because you say I'm going to do this by, you know, October 11th. Okay. Oh yeah, Amy just said you just did. Cool. Cecilia, not so much not showing up at events or meetings. Let's say someone has been to a few events and they have seen a few online videos and now they don't respond to your calls or texts. How do you handle no response? Oh, I see. Sorry about that. I went on this whole long tangent. Hopefully that was helpful for somebody. So how do you handle no responses, or how often are you sending more invites to events with no response from your lead? So some people just ghost because in their mind, that is the most polite way to say they're not interested. Okay. And so some people do that because literally like that, they don't know any other way to tell you, you know what, I'm scared. I don't want to do this, right? It's uncomfortable. Okay. So some of those people, they just want to feel like you care about them as an individual. So here's one thing that I'll say. If I have somebody that just starts, all of a sudden goes dark, or even tells me, you know what, I don't think this is for me, then I'll say something like, well, one, I'll just send them a random text message that they don't have to like open the text message to read the whole thing. So in other words, it's very, very short. And I'll just send them a text message like, hey, John, are you still interested in real estate investing? And just leave it at that. Okay, that's one thing that I'll do, because again, that's so quick. They can see that. Let's see if I go to like text message. They can see that over here. They don't actually have to open the text message. They can just see it and they can read the whole thing right there. Yeah, so that's one thing that I'll do. Hey, John, you still interested in real estate investing? And just see where that goes. And that's an easy question to answer. It's an easy response. They know it's not going to take them very much time. And I've had some people say, you know, right now is just not the time. I say, okay, great. You know, now I have closure, basically. And I have had some people say, oh yeah, thank you so much for reaching out again. You know, I busy and life and stuff. You know, and so I say, cool, let's find some time. Let's make some time to get together again and figure this out. Okay. Okay. So another way that I've had people just come back, you know, that went dark, is I'll shoot them a text message, and this one's a little bit longer, but I'll shoot them a text message and say, hey man, I hadn't heard from you in you know, a couple of, you know, I've texted you a couple of times and I haven't heard back from you. Oftentimes, if somebody is not getting back to me like this, it's because I need to apologize for something. Would I be fair to, you know, let's see, how do I say this? Would it be fair to say, or would it be fair to think that that might be the case here? If so, anyway, so and that's basically what I say. Hey, John, I've texted you a couple of times and I haven't heard back from you. Sometimes when people do that to me, it's because I need to apologize for something. Would it be fair to think that might be the case here? Dude, they will feel that you care about them when you send them text messages like that. Like, I have literally had people that were ghosting, and I would text them, they would no response, text them, no response, you know, and for a long time. And I would send them that text message and they would write back. And same thing, sometimes they say, and most of the time they'd say, oh, no, you don't need to apologize for anything. I just, whatever. And whether they were like, I've just been crazy busy. I've been thinking about you. Every time you text me, I think, oh man, I need to get back to her. I need to get, and so sometimes they were just busy, and you snap them out of normal, what people do to ignore lots of distractions in their life. You snap them out of that and they say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for reaching out again. Let's reconnect. Or they say, like I said, you get the closure and say, you don't need to apologize for anything. I just don't feel like this is for me right now. Whatever. So, but anyway, it helps get that closure at least, or get the next meeting by asking them if you need to apologize for something. So great question. I hope that helps too. Let's see. I'm always looking for better follow-up techniques. What is the text schedule you use? Amy, I just use, because I have Verizon, I just use this app right here. It's the little red one at the very, there we go. So it's that one right there. Message Plus. I believe it's Verizon only. I'm not sure though, but if there are other carriers that have something like this, then I'm sure they might work as well. So you can see I sent out a couple of text messages this morning. One of them is going to go out here in just about 10 minutes. Yeah, so that's what I use to text people in the future. Let's see, Tyler Mead, would you like to do that same short message if someone told you, let's see, would you like to do that same short message if someone told you they want to get out of debt faster and pay less in taxes? Would you like to do that? Yeah, if I understand your question, Tyler, basically say, hey man, are you still interested in paying down your debt faster? Or hey, are you still interested in paying less taxes? You know, and give them like a future pace. Hey, are you still interested in paying off your debt in 5 years? You know, or hey, are you still interested in paying less taxes this next time you file your taxes? You know, something like that. Repeat the last message. I believe you're asking me about the apologizing one, okay? So I basically say, like, hey, John, I haven't heard from you. I've texted you a couple of times, and I haven't heard from you. Sometimes when this happens, people, it usually means I need to apologize for something. Would I be fair to say that that might be the case, or would I be fair to think that this might be the case here? Question mark. Yeah, so basically you validate that they have not texted you back. You basically put the blame on yourself. You know, it's so funny. You know, they always teach us don't make things personal. When you're out contacting and conducting business and trying to make deals with people, don't ever take anything personal. But it's so funny, if you make things personal in your conversation, people will respond, because nobody wants to make it personal. Most people, I should say. But if you make it personal like that, like, hey, do I need to apologize for something that I did? Oftentimes if somebody doesn't get back to me after I've texted them a couple of times, it's because I need to apologize. You know, would I be fair to think that that might be the case here? Dude, people will be like, oh my gosh, like this person cares about me, like they're validating me, and then they'll text me back and be like, and because they'll just naturally, you know, as humans, I mean, think about the last time somebody apologized to you. Were you just like, oh yeah, you need to apologize? You know, they're like, no, you're okay. You know, especially if you haven't done anything to them. They're like, no, you're fine. Thank you so much for your concern, right? So hope you guys got that. Message Plus comes surprise and you can download it. Okay, cool. Well, we're at the top of the hour. I got another call here coming up, but thank you guys so much. Great questions. Hope this was valuable. Stay classy. I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful Wealth Wednesday.